You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
Tiny House Live.
You know how things begin. You tell yourself, hey, this is it. This is the beginning. And that's what it becomes. For you, for me. That's because beginnings are arbitrary. They only happen when you tell yourself they're happening. Maybe that's why they happen the way they do. Anytime you want them to. Could be this very moment. Right now. This is as good a time as any. The one we're in. As of now. There's a phrase. As of now.
Tiny House Live. Tiny House Live.
Everything's happening. Where every beginning that's ever begun has had to begin. Here where we are. Now, as of now. This instant. Within all the instances. Where all the beginnings. And all the endings for that matter. Come and go. Here where we are. In this huge, immense moment, are all our yesterdays. See them, one next to the one before it, next to the one before that, next to the one before that, way back.
Yes, we begin way back. We begin way back tonight. Tonight's a tiny house night, and I'm going to tell you right now, straight up, friends, I'm looking at having an adventure night with you tonight. That's what I'm telling you. That's where we're starting off tonight. This is my tiny house, and on Wednesday nights, you know, I kind of expand my purpose, my intentions, my goal in life to do just a little bit more than what I see out there online, and because of that, you know, here I am pushing the boundaries of imagination, and we might even say reality tonight. You're right on that? You with me? You with me? Because it's a magic night tonight in here. I have no guests. Well, I've got some classic guests that are going to be with us virtually, you know, and that's always fun, right? Darn right it is, because I've got, you know, some classic vocals, stories, sound bits. We're going to do some experimenting tonight. It's one of the things that I just really love to do in here, you know. So come on in. You're all here. You're all right at.
House Live.
You're right at.
Tiny House Live.
And I'm glad to have you in my tiny house. This is your professor right here tonight. Hi. Hello, in the hills of Petticoat, right here with you tonight, just to kind of push the boundaries. What are we going to do tonight? Well, this is a little different. You know, you never really know what you're going to find on Tiny House, and that's very much the case tonight, because I've got sound bites, and well, let me back up even further. I've always been a picture framer. Somebody gives me a story, a song, a vocal, a story. Let me frame it, and that's really what I do. Is I'm a picture framer. You know, only I don't use wood and other metallics. I use digital media. So what I'm doing tonight is I'm picture framing a lot of amazing stories, amazing vocalists, amazing poems by, let's say, a couple people like William S. Burroughs. I'm going to hit the beat poets to some degree. Got some Jack Kerouac in the middle of the show. But I'm kind of going beyond just the beat generation. And by the way, the beat generation was, you know, mid-50s. New York started, you know, amazing people out there like Jack Kerouac and William S. Burroughs. And it went on Allen Ginsberg, went on. And it broke its way all the way to San Francisco, of course. The two mediums being very much connected. So so that being said, in San Francisco with, the Kinkisi and the whole bus and further, and the story goes out from there. But what I'm telling you is tonight that basically I'm getting down to the inside of this, the deep nitty gritty of what's going on, because we're going into where some of the beat poets are, the people who had, language. Laurie Anderson said language is a virus. We'll hear that tonight. Laurie Anderson right there. Jim Carroll. I've got some great stuff from Jim Carroll. Remember him? Basketball Diaries. I've got some dialogue, some of his short stories. And I get to introduce you tonight, for the first time, live in my tiny house, my chefs of heaven, right live. Losses Palas. I have some stories to tell. I have a connection to make to the chefs of heaven for you tonight. First time ever for me. And I'm really looking forward to bringing that to you. So that's fun. So much so that I put on my special shirt. You see it right there? That's right. It's basically the theory for pi being pi r squared. But you know what? We all know that pi aren't square. Pi are round. Cornbread is square. So, on that note tonight, I'm telling you that things don't always appear the way they seem, particularly in a tiny house, as you may have been able to figure out so far. So, we're going to dive on tonight. What are we going to do? Now, sit back and relax, because this is not your dance show. I do those on Saturdays, by the way. This Saturday, I'll be featuring Bossa Nova Duo with Nick Otis and Matthew Silva. We'll get into all that dancing and groovy stuff in front of a stage. Tonight's not that. No, I want you to sit back tonight. Think of it as old radio theater, right? Man, think of your parents, man. I could be your parent, right? Think of us. We're sitting around. Actually, this is before me. This is my parents. That's how far I'm taking you back tonight. They would sit around the TV. They wouldn't sit around the TV. They would sit around their radio. They would wait for stories to be told out of this magic box. And that's what I am tonight for you, my friends, right here in my tiny house magic box. There's a whole new theory for me right there. I'm kind of digging that idea. I want to go on it. But that being said, tonight, I want you to sit back, relax, make an aperitif, whatever that means to you. I don't care what it takes to have you put your feet up. If you have headphones, hey, let's use them. Man, I'm telling you, I spend a lot of time in the astral domain of three-dimensional sound. If you're just listening off your phone, I'm kind of going, what? Really? All that work I do? Do you listen off your phone? And on that note, before we dive deep into where we're going, kids, I'm going to tell you, how do you reach me? I have people ask me all the time, and I broadcast on Facebook, as you see me right now, facebook.com/tinyhouselive page. There's the URL. And that being said, while I've got you right now in this live mode that we're all in, look up there in the corner of your live screen, for God's sake, and you'll see a little notification thing up there that says, hey, look, there's a bell. And if you set that little bell to all, every time I go live, you'll get a little ping, and you'll go, hey, that guy's live again. And you may want to come on in. Or you may not want to. You might want to wait for a little while and wait before you get into your
House Live.
I don't blame you.
House Live.
And I don't blame you. But at least you'll be notified. So once again, notification bell, set it to all. You'll always, and don't just do it for me. There's people all around the world right now. There's places you know you're connected to, venues you like, bands you know you love to hear. Every time they go live, you want to know about it. Select the notification bell. It's your little thing out there. For me, it's bait on the hook. Darn right it is. Come on into my world. All right, we're going to dive off. This is not a night that I'm going to concentrate on a lot of stuff as far as visually. I'll be popping in and out to give you some maybe direction or purpose in life. But for the most part, like right now, we're heading off into the Amazon. I think that's where I'm starting us off tonight, in a nice little jungle mode. I want you to, once again, sit back, relax tonight. I've got some stories to tell you. Some things are going to come up that maybe you didn't expect. And that's always a good thing in my world. I've got a full a roadmap out over here, and let's get started. You ready? All right, here we go. Here we go. Sit back, relax, put your feet up. You know, it's not quite as serious as you may think it might be.
You are getting messages from outer space, the CIA, the board, Jesus Christ, the Communist Party, a council of bodhisattvas, Allah, M5, Black September. You still need that? Then perhaps the camera is too much guru for you. Perhaps Nirvana is too much for you to take. Well then, report back to casting. If you want, take Nirvana, let the camera do its work and go. The director of your own film waves. This insubstantial pageant faded, leaves not a frame behind. You are this insubstantial pageant. Who else?
Get it out of your head and into the machines. Stop talking. Stop arguing. Let the machines talk and argue. A tape recorder is an externalized section of the human nervous system. You can find out more about the nervous system and gain more control over your reaction by using a tape recorder than you can find out sitting 20 years in the lotus position. Whatever your problem is, just throw it into the machines and let them chew it around a while. The soundtrack conjures up the image track. Word came before image. Shut off the soundtrack on your TV set and put in your own soundtrack. Words, music, what you will. Now, play back your soundtrack and you will see the images sharp and clear. Record soundtracks off TV and film programs. Mix in suggestions from rewrites, microphones, and radio cruise cars. Press a button and record all sounds and voices of the city. Press a button to feed back these sounds with cut-ins a few seconds later. Rub out the word. There is no one there to hear it.
Tiny House Live. Tiny House Live.
I can see two tiny pictures, and there's one in each of your eyes. And they're doing everything I do. Every time I light a cigarette, they light up there. I take a drink, and I look in, and they're drinking too. It's driving me crazy. It's driving me nuts.
Sound. It's not just the air vibrating. Sound means feelings. It refreshes our minds, soothes our hearts. It can make us happy, or sad, or excited. It also is essential to the communication of ideas and the exchange of information. It's vital to daily life. Sound is always around us, 1,001 different things reverberating together. Cars honk, people talk. On a hot summer day, the sky thunders. Even if it is very, very quiet, sounds intrude. The quiet, insistent tick-tock of our wristwatch. The meow of a cat. Footsteps in the dark. Both real silence and pure sound are rarities possible only through the most advanced technologies, which seek to maximize control of oral space.
And there you see, we're going to dive in a little bit into oral space, maximum technologies. We're going to dive into some William S. Burroughs like we just got a little taste of there. You know, this is all very improv for me, and I want you to know a little bit about what I'm even doing in here to begin with, because this is all being live manipulated. I'm not just playing tracks, I'm playing audio loops that I've built, manufactured, and audio changed around. I've got samples over here, I've got collections, I've got things I'm pulling in all the moment. You never even know when to expect next. So that's half the fun for me, is doing something very improv. What you're hearing, I'm creating at this very moment. And as far as the green screen, well, yeah, I'm off in Adventureland. You can see it right there. I think we're taking a nice little walk through a forest. You know, all kinds of magical things can happen in my world. All kinds of magical things can happen in my world. What, you never seen a man do a tiny desk concert? Okay, let's go. Let's go somewhere.
Hello.
This call may be monitored or recorded for quality purposes.
Hello?
This call may be monitored or recorded for quality purposes.
Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I know a guy who used to collect hellos. Hello? Hello? Call someone up, and they'd say hello. And that's all they'd have to hear.
Hello?
He just recorded hellos. Hello.
Hello?
All kinds of hellos.
Hello?
Some highs. Hi. Who is it?
Leave a message.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Inside my brain, where fantasies play hide and seek. Essentially, my little cells go giddy glad with sudden kinds of going mad that lift me up and let me slip beyond the stiff of upper lip. Or even now, in what I call my only hope, so tiny, small, no microscope would even try to get inside, to magnify that inner place where shadows play my sunshine game of hideaway.
Ken Nordine. Where's Ken Nordine? That was Ken Nordine right there, man. I've got some more Ken. He's one of my favorites. He goes deep. Ken Nordine goes deep. He's not afraid to space you out a little bit and take you into that other dimension, much like the one I'm leading you on tonight, by the way. And that's okay. You know, we're going deep into the rabbit hole, Alice. How did you find your way into this little magic doorway anyway? Who told you about this? Did you set your notification bells to all so you'll always be able to find your way back, Alice? It's important to find your way back, Alice. It's always important to find your way home. Always important to find your way home. While at the same time, while we're still hanging with Ken, let's take a quick trip to the moon. Let's take a quick trip to the moon. To the moon! Alice?
Wow. Where the imaginary will take us this time.
How you can put a dream into images on the screen so easily.
Hey, it's not me. It's my face on the moon. How did I get there? With the magic of morphing pictures. You can do that now with your computer. Play around, do amazing things with the software.
I'll do that.
Now you can take any image and distort it any way you want. Just wander around. Wonder how this would look as a background for the evening news.
Crazy idea. Too far out.
All in front of
It'll never happen.
the background that you're looking at. Of a wandering eye in a wandering space. Like a dream. The dreamer's dream. Sometimes I dream that we'll never get back to the moon. That was special. That was some time ago. NASA? Are you gonna get back to the moon?
The flight to the moon.
You should. You left some stuff up there, remember?
On gossamer wing.
Not only a footprint. You could go back and see the man on the moon.
There he is.
Maybe take a look at the dark side.
There he is.
NASA? NASA, are you here? Do you hear me? NASA?
NASA.
Let's go back to the moon.
Let's go back, NASA.
Someday. sometime soon.
Your suits.
You left a lot of stuff back there.
The oxygen.
Maybe you can take a look at the dark side next time.
Yes. Let's take a look at the dark side. There we are right there. I think we're looking at the dark side of the moon, if I'm not mistaken. How did that line up? I have no idea. Just one of those magical things that happened in my tiny house. Circular motions happen into circular motions. That is the art of synchronicity, which you're experiencing right now. Things I'm creating on the moment, in the moment. Why not? Why? Because I can. Why? Because I want to. And why? Because I hope you're enjoying what I'm doing here tonight. You know, I'm just taking us down this little adventure of beat poets and all kinds of little adventures. Matter of fact, you know, this is a really short one. I want to take you out only because this man and his guitar style was just something that bent our culture around. And I've taken some outtracks of some of his videos and some of the audios, and particularly the audio here, outtakes from the recording session of Jimi Hendrix and Third Stone from the Sun. I have the outtakes, the studio headphone outtakes. You will hear what Jimi Hendrix had to say in Third Stone from the Sun. Where else?
Tiny House Live.
Starfleet to scout ship, please give your position. Over.
I am in orbit around the third planet of star known as Sun. Over.
May this be Earth. Over.
Positive. It is known to have some form of intelligent species. Over.
I think we should take a look. Strange, beautiful grass of green with your majestic silver seas. Your mysterious mountains I'd wish to see closer. May I land my kinky machine. Although your world wonders me with your majestic and superior cackling hen, your people I do not understand. So to you I shall put an end. And you never hear surf music again. That sounds like a lie to me. Come on, man, let's go home.
All right. You hear that? Did you hear that? Did you catch that? Outtakes from Jimi Hendrix, Third Stone from the Sun, just for you. Dug that out of my deep collection, just for you. The headphone sins, can you imagine, in the studio? Anyway, well, I wanted to make sure you had that, because that's an important piece of history right there. Third Stone from the Sun. That's where we are, planet Earth. You see the way I connected that to Ken Nordine and the visit to the moon, back to the Earth, Jimi Hendrix around the planet, coming right back to you. You know, it's just a tiny house. And I believe you actually got me doing a little tiny house, a tiny desk concert in that too. So who knows what's going to happen tonight? Certainly I don't. But I think right now I want to dive into at least a couple more short beat poets, because I got some territory to cover. And you know, by the way, where are we? You know,
Tiny House Live.
Sure.
Tiny House Live.
And where am I? I'm right here, my tiny house page. I'm right over here, Alice, in this rabbit hole. You can find me. You just go to Tiny House Live page, facebook.com/Tiny House Live page. Save it on your browser right now, this very moment. Go up there and make it a tool on your toolbar. You'll never get lost again. Put out your breadcrumbs. I'm right here. I ain't going nowhere. Not until they let me out of this tiny house. I'm going on 4 months now. Somebody owes me 4 months, by the way. Somebody owes me 4 months. At least 4 months.
You dug him before.
What?
dig him now.
Well, you should be digging me now, man. You should be digging me now, because I got some things to tell you. What'd you just say?
You dug him before, dig him now. You dug.
I know, I heard you. You dug. You dug. I got you. Well, what are you going to tell me? I know what I'm going to tell you.
Yes, I can feel it. Now you see the nails are coming on so strong and so fine and so great. Talking about when's he going to appear next. What did he do there? He put it down once for the cat dug it, didn't dig it. Put it down twice, dug it, didn't dig it. Put it down the third time, the cat dug it. Wham! Walked away with his eyes bugging out here, there, bumping in there, everybody. Nails coming on so fine and so strong. They're pulling on his coat tail. They want him to sign the autograph. They want him to do this gig here. They want him to do that gig there. They want to make it the radio, the video, and all that jazz. He can't make all that jazz.
You can't make all that jazz. Darn right. Sometimes I can't make all that jazz. I do try. You know, one of my favorite inspirations when it comes to music manipulation, electronic music, all this performance art. Let's be really specific about performance art. I have to tell you, Laurie Anderson, going back to Home of the Brave. If you haven't seen that, I suggest you do. It's an amazing process, and I'm going to play a short piece. By the way, know that tonight, really, what I'm doing here is I'm doing a recording session for what could be a radio show. That's why I've got one image up. I'm just kind of spinning my little video web to keep you enticed, But I'm really interested in giving a couple good selections of some of these video, audio, story, beat generation, lyrical poets down into a format that I can present without visuals. I'm interested in radio. I want to help radio. Please, radio, let me help you. Please. Let's go off into some beat poets. Let's hear a nice little selection. I know. I'm going to start with Laurie Anderson just because I mentioned her, and she's truly one of my favorites. Dig this, as we're into the beat generation here tonight with your professor. High once again in the hills of Petacotia, sipping on my hop stupid tonight. Maybe that's the reason for all this nonsense that I've got going on. And of course, a little agave. But let's, Laurie.
I came home today, and I opened the door with my bare hands. And I said, hey, who tore up all my wallpaper samples? Who ate all the grapes? The ones I was saving? And this guy was sitting there. And I said, hey, pal, what's going on here? And he had this smile. And when he smiled, he had these big white teeth, like luxury hotels on the Florida coastline. And when he closed his mouth, it looked like a big scar. And I said to myself, holy smokes, looks like some kind of guest-host relationship to me. And I said, hey, pal, what's going on here anyway? Who are you? And he said, now, I am the soul doctor. And you know, language is a virus from outer space. And hearing your name is better than seeing your face.
Life is a virus from outer space. You heard it. Life is a virus from outer space. Timely information right there from Laurie Anderson. Not to be confused with Lonnie Anderson, which I wanted to make sure I didn't do tonight. Laughing at myself.
Tiny house live. Tiny house live.
I know this guy. I saw him in the street the other day. He was out there picking stuff up, and I wanted to help him. He was wandering down the road, and I thought, man, this guy looked like he needed some help. And he was looking for something. I could see it. And then he said to me,
I have lived in this city 25 years, and all that time I have dropped things. I've dropped tissues, letters from women in Santa Fe, New Mexico, money, the keys to my house, books by Jacques Prévert. And all this time, you, the people of this city, have pointed to me and said, "Hey, sir, you dropped something," and then I've picked it up. You have watched over me all these years, and I've waited till now to thank you.
And that's exactly what it's like when you live in the community. Am I correct? You take care of each other. You take care of each other. You look around and you say, "Hey, you dropped something." Some book by Jacques Prévert. I'll help you find it. I picked it up. I gave it back to you. I didn't steal it and read it. No way. I gave it back to you. That's life in the community. That's where we're at. We're in the city at the moment. You know, we're in the city at the moment. What happens? You know, a lot of people in city life, really love the sport of basketball. You know what I mean? I can't say I'm a huge basketball fan, but I appreciate the accuracy of the movement and the motion. And if you notice, I got some ballerinas that pop around from time to time, and I appreciate the beauty of motion. So let's hear a little what we'll call a 3-point shot. Okay.
A 3-point shot from Andromeda. Rain-rusted orange ring of Saturn in urban orbit over an outdoor gym. Nighttime jumpers pull up to the hoop, dance on the rim. Bolted against the metal backboard sky riddled with 99,000 BB-sized holes compressing 5th floor duplex kitchen light into a galaxy of 50-watt schoolyard stars. Superflex intense constellations, hand check, rotate on defense, double down, trying to guard spinning playground, planetarium delirium of black gods flying on neighborhood rep. Shake and bake, pump fake, jab, step. Past Orion, walk on air and burst the reverse on the stellar bear.
But life's not so simple. Life's not so simple in the city. Life's not so simple. And, you know, sometimes you've got to live where you got to live, and you've got to deal with things like...
"Don't eat any more food in your room," Mother said. "You'll get more bugs. They depend on people like you. Otherwise, they would starve. But who do you want to make happy? Your mother or a bunch of ants? What have they done for you? Nothing. They have no feelings. They'll eat your candy, yet you treat them better than you treat me. You keep feeding them, but you never offer me anything."
All right, my friends, I'm taking you out there. Are we out there? Look, beautiful sunny day. Look around, the clouds are floating by us in the most chromatic green screen way. I'm enjoying my little vibration tonight with you. I wish I could spend any more time on chat. Know that I'm going to go back when I'm all done with this. It's only an hour show, 8 to 9 p.m. plus. And I'll be going back to my chat line and connecting and conversing with you all right after the show. So right after the show, roughly a little after 9, I'll be going back and watching the entire show over, laughing at myself and reconnecting with you. If you left me a message, I'll find it. Either way, you're here in my tiny house. Hi with me once again in the hills of Petticoat. And so glad to have you here. Let me pull in a little reality for a second. That's not a bad idea. That's about as real as I'm going to get for you right there. Maybe right there. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Welcome, welcome. I am your professor. What am I doing in here? Well, you know, it's kind of a creative night for me, you know, and I got to tell you, I've got a lot of things coming up that fit into my tiny house live model, and now it's probably not a bad time to set aside and talk to you about it, because I've got, of course, on my Saturday nights from my tiny house, I deliver to you the world around us, Sonoma County, who I love you much, the Redwood Cafe Best of Live series. I'm still going through 100 plus live shows that I've got archived from the Redwood Cafe, and I'm bringing those to you every Saturday night. Where? Right here from my tiny house, but I broadcast those shows to the Redwood Cafe page. So know that on Saturday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. plus, I send to you with much love and adoration. That's a good word in the back of your mind tonight. Adoration to you, Sonoma County. Some music to inspire you, get us through this little pandemical. Is that actually even a word? Can somebody check on that for me? It's not like I have an office up there. And a pandemical, and you know that I'm just continuing on in my tiny house mode. I've got some live things coming up I'll be able to tell you about. I see they're happening. And in that note, next Wednesday, right here, Tiny House Live, mark your calendars. More importantly than that, set your notification bell to all so you'll be notified when I have my Tiny House Live next week with my good friends, good friends. I see them because I shop all the time at Oliver's. I've got Donnie Medeiros and Levi Lloyd here with me next Wednesday night, right in my Studio K behind me, and we're going to do 2, 3, 4 songs. Who knows what the boys will do? I'm really looking forward to it. They are too, so much so that the guys are on my doorstep tonight at 7 o'clock thinking tonight was their show. And I said, no, man, it's next week, next Wednesday night right here. So they were already here. They're ready to set up and play music for you tonight. And if I didn't have this course already planned in motion, I'd probably have the guys up there and we'd be doing what we do. But know that next Wednesday, right here, Tiny House Live, Donnie Medeiros, Levi Lloyd, you know them, you love them. We shop with them, we shop around them. I can't wait for that one. A lot of fun. I have all kinds of things coming through in here, of course. Live stuff, visual, creative stuff like this. Depends on what I decide to book and what I want to do. So no, Tiny House Live on Wednesdays. Saturday nights, my Best of Redwood Cafe, and we're moving on, right? We're going to move on until the atmosphere changes around us, and that's exactly what I want to do now. Now I need to say, okay, now where am I going to take it? Oh, you know what? I've been trying, well, not really dating, because there is no dating in a lockdown situation, am I right? But it doesn't mean like I haven't been trying to connect out there with people, you know? And on that basis, I thought, you know, maybe it's time that I take a course. Is that my school bell? It might be time that I take a course. It's something that would help me in my interrelationship, connection and communication with the people around me. So I thought I'd take a course.
The course is titled The Art and Science of Flirting. Classes last 3 hours, and the curriculum includes how to impart signs of one's interest and how to know when one is the object of someone's interest. The instructor is Catherine Brown, who's 30 years old and single. She doesn't teach her students any surefire opening lines because she says there aren't any. She preaches that people must dare to be themselves and be creative, ready to flirt anytime, anywhere, with anybody who strikes one's fancy.
So I took her advice. Okay, I took your course. I understand. Get out there, make a bold move, be yourself. Always be yourself, and that's kind of what I do to try to do anyway. This is me, by the way, who you see right now as your professor, a fake professor, by the way, because I do have a D.O.P.E. degree, and that's a degree of personal experience to you. The kids know it. Either way, it qualifies me to bring you these qualifications. And so I was seeking, I took this course in flirting and how to communicate with the opposite sex. God help me. And you think I'd be over all these halter tops. But no, I ran into her.
I wanted you.
I know.
And I was looking for you.
I've been looking for you too. I really have. Long time.
But I couldn't find you.
I couldn't find you either. I've been looking.
I wanted you.
Well, I wanted you too. I said that, right?
And I was looking for you all day.
I understand. And I've kind of been looking for you, maybe not all day, but close.
But I couldn't find you.
Well, I'm not exactly hiding. I'm in a tiny house in the hills of Petticoat.
I couldn't find you.
Did I tell you where I was? High in the hills of Petticoat. Come on.
You're walking
Okay, you want to go for a walk?
And you don't always realize it. But you're always falling.
Where are we walking to? I'm not sure.
Each step,
Uh-huh.
you fall forward slightly.
Forwards. Of course.
And then catch yourself from falling.
All right, I can get into that. Let's walk.
Over and over, you're falling.
You know, you've taken a walk and made it into something
And then catching yourself
completely different.
from falling.
I'm trying.
And this is how
All right.
you can be walking
Okay.
and falling at the same time.
God, I just wanted to go for a walk. Listen to the birds, the wind in the trees. Didn't need to hear a metaphysical description of what it's like to put one foot in front of the other. You know, yes, I want that inward reach, but at the same time, I want some grounding, for God's sakes. We're walking on the planet Earth, am I correct? Let's put our feet in front of us. And then I seemed, you know, going through this whole process, right? You're agreeing with me out there, right? Okay, I'm just checking in with you because I'm not really looking at my chat troll too much, and I'm flying blind, knowing that you're on my side because there's, you know, I know, but you think it was funny? You think it was really? All right. You think it's funny? You really think it's funny? Well, you think it's funny until I met her.
I'm an emotional idiot, so get away from me.
What?
I mean, come here. Wait, no, that's too close. Give me some space. It's a big country. There's plenty of room. Don't sit so close to me. Hey, where are you? I haven't seen you in days. What, are you having an affair?
No.
Who is she? Come on. Aren't I enough for you? God, you're so cold. I never know what you're thinking. You're not very affectionate. I mean, you're clinging to me. Don't touch me. What am I, your fucking cat? Don't rub me like that. Don't you have anything better to do than sit there fawning over me? Don't you have any interests, hobbies, sailing, fly fishing, archaeology? There's an archaeology expedition leaving tomorrow. Why don't you go? I'll loan you the money. My money is your money. My life is yours. My soul is yours. Without you, I'm nothing. Move in with me. We'll get a studio apartment together, save on rent. Well, wait, I mean, maybe a one-bedroom so we don't get in each other's hair or anything, or actually, maybe a two-bedroom. I'll have my own bedroom. It's nothing personal. I just need to be alone sometimes. You do understand, don't you? Hey, why are you acting distant? Where are you going? Was it something I said? What? What did I do? I'm an emotional idiot, so get away from me. I mean, marry me!
And I might have. And maybe I could have. For God's sakes, God help me. I'm not sure what would have happened. But either way, I dodged another bullet. By the way, these personifications of people that I'm projecting tonight have no real concept in reality whatsoever, other than the fact that it remind me of people I have met deep into my past relationships. The past relationships. They're all there. And once again, you are here high with me in the tiny hills of Petticoat with your professor, bringing you yet another Tiny House Live. You know, in an entirely different way. You know, I'm just kind of, we're still taking a beautiful little walk through the forest now. We're out of the Amazon. I'm digging where my vibe is. I'm hoping you are too. There's so much going on around me that I just can't wait to even dive deeper. Do we dare? Where does he go next with the last 15 minutes or plus of this show? I have no idea. Oh, I know. It's time for me, my friends. It's really, no, seriously, I'm serious. It's time for me. Come on. All right, there you go. Let's get the applause up because this has been a long time coming for me. How do I introduce you to the chefs of heaven? Well, you know, there's a lot of ways that I can do that. And ideally, the best way for me is to introduce you to the main master, the smooth mouth hound, the master of the jive talk, the blabberwalkie master. And that would be my buddy, Lostis Palas. Now, he wrote all these lyrics that you're going to hear. He wrote all this dialogue. He is the picture I began framing, we'll go 20, 30 years back, potentially, and I've been working with his lyrics ever since, trying to figure out great ways to bring them to you, which I believe I've done. I think I've actually done this. I believe I'm comfortable in saying at this point that I have some interesting things to bring to you, and this would be my man right here. Now, how do we start? These are all improv for me, so once again, these are all tracks and loops and things that I've developed over a long period of time that I've remorphated. That's not really a word. I have to work on that one. I think I meant somewhere between metaphorized. That's the word I'm looking for. I was being professorial, if you're really curious about what I'm doing. And, who knows where I might take you next. We're now wandering through the forest, and God knows anything can happen to us from here. And that's not bad, because I'm thinking maybe it's time for how about a story of Ponce de Leon? You ever wondered what happened to Ponce de Leon? He ventured off into the wilderness and the jungle and the format to look for the magic spring, the magic water, something that would bring him a new life, something that would extend his life and into the future, way beyond what he knew he had. And I think that's what I want to do. I want to start you off by introducing you to Lostis Palas and his story of Ponce de Leon. Sit back, relax. A little Cabernet, a little wine, a little beer, a little herb, whatever. It's all a good thing. This is where we're going for another few minutes. I'll be back.
It seems that Ponce de had come round without his Leon to bring him down, sparkling of the eternal search and wondering where the summit could ever be. How high was high, and how wide beyond the sky. It came to me in a fever dream, overheated and unexpected. There I was in my fever bed, sweat pouring down my fever head, and before I knew it, I was deposited into the warm stream consciousness waters. Warm and soothing consciousness waters. The pant legs of my trousers were already rolled up. I was wading in the water. There was no moisture in the air. It was clear and strong. I'd like to swoon right off because the flowers were fragrant and colorful beyond my imagination. The birds were singing songs I never heard before. The fishes were gleaming and winking their eyes as they jumped in and out of the water. Little crawdads were sitting on top of rocks, their feet dangling in clear water, applauding happily the aerial display of the butter and dragonflies as they figure-eighted in their own immediate sky. And all the while the breeze was igniting the energized. The breeze was igniting my energized. Then just a short distance before me, dressed in tatters, wading in the warm waters and coming toward me, I thought I recognized the man. Who else could it be? Then I realized it couldn't have just been the overdosedness of the situation or the lushness of the topography, but it was the man himself, Ponce de Leon, emanating from himself, flushed up from himself. I wanted to give him credit for his solid mythological reasoning, even though it was quite evident that he was a walking the line sort of man, if there ever was one. I wanted so badly to know if the fountain could eliminate pain or any disdain for a lack of perfection. So I called out, "Hail, Senor Leon! I do recognize you and want to make it known." But old, emaciated, clothed in tatters, Senor Leon didn't respond in any way. He just kept his head down, gazing in the water in some profound thought that I gave him credit for. He acted like he hadn't heard me at all, so I intoned once again, "Hail, Senor Leon! I do recognize you and must make it known. I'm no innocent bystander asking the question. Is my imagination to wither on the vine, or have you made the vine? Does the fountain exist, or am I to resist my temptation, or what, Senor Leon, or what?" I have been waiting all my life, believing in the said mythological structure. I have waited all my life where I don't belong. I waited because I'm waiting. I only am waiting because I have waited. Please don't look at me that way. It's easy for you to say, waiting for what? I'm talking about that internal, eternal passage that just sears through a moment's notice when your mind, your so-called mind, is open enough to perchance it, to be available, to be able to embrace that moment of crystallization where all of destiny conspires into magnificent display. Please don't look at me that way. It's easy for you to say, waiting for what? I'm talking about that internal, eternal passage that just sears through a moment's notice when your mind, your so-called mind, is open enough to perchance to be available to it, to be able to embrace that moment. To embrace that moment's crystallization where all of destiny conspires into magnificent display. That's what I have been waiting for, Senor Leon, to be the magnificent display. That's what I have been waiting for all this long where I don't belong. To be that magnificent display. Then the images disassembled, the dreams started to fade, the molecular structure atrophied. And I was back in my bed, feverhead, sweat pouring down my brow. And it did seem that Ponce a day had come round without his excess baggage to bring him down, sparkling of the eternal search and wonder.
Losses Palas. Chefs of Heaven right there for you. Something new, something new, something new for me, just for you. Why? People need to know about these kind of things. This is communication. This is the beauty of the English language being brought to you tonight. Reformatted, brought around in an entirely different way. I'm loving what's going on. I've been a huge fan of what my friends who've done dialogue for years, how I can weave it into these moments of time and reality just for you right here in my tiny house. And there's more. Oh my God, of course. Losses? Are you kidding me? I've got hours, but I think I may need to introduce you to the Muse. Oh, I know the Muse. Oh yeah. No, I'm very well connected to the Muse. We've been introduced. I'm right now. I owe a lot to her. So I am in the service of the Muse. And on that, I will bring you Losses Palas and what we entitled The Muse, just for, well, we'll say your amusement. How's that? So once again, here we go. Tiny House Live, Losses Palas, part of the bigger picture, which is my Chefs of Heaven. I will start broadcasting on that channel very soon, doing very similar projects like this outside of my tiny house. Just why? Because it's one more medium that I can cover, all right? There we go. Let's hear about the Muse, all right? Come on. This is something really cool.
I had just arrived at this fertile time when I felt the hot breath of seduction fogging the windows of my consciousness. I tried not to be consumed by the pollen count of her beauty, but it was the Muse herself, flushed from herself, emanating from her self-lethal creativities, divining her intervention in a twinkling of her eye, and she was nearby, much too near. And here she is now. So, this is our Muse. She plays no nonsense. This is our darling who never ate crow. She never went against rain. She knows the value of each and every pain. She is the task of the bee and the task of the flower, all in one at once. she is the slogan of her own notion. Isn't she the pulse well-tempered? Isn't she the fumes in your mind spreading like jive, like this jive, like hives in the summer? She is the many lagoons warmer than persuasion. She is immediate, has slang, and free enough to become legend. And she supposes that it is all right to dismiss what you know won't float. The goats of any scape that would scrape you raw.
The goats of an escape that would scrape you raw. Los is Palas. Fun twists on the English language. He's a master of that, in my opinion. We go back many decades. I've been a formatter and repicture framer of his words for years. So much so that I think maybe I need to describe maybe something like maybe a typical day that it was like for us years gone past. Actually in Glen Ellen is where a lot of this stuff originated 20-30 years ago. Isn't it amazing? Quite an amazing link into the in the past I'm bringing you tonight by even bringing you my ballerinas as well as my typical day.
These have not been typical days. That active, molten lava, desert sun, cool of the oasis feeling has finally come, touching me all the way down. I must be inoculated of the planet enough by now to withstand all these halter tops, mustn't I? I must be cleansed of the hook, line, and sinker concepts by now, isn't it? And what about you? Your story or mine? And what episodes? My wine or your nectar? How much courage can you ignore? And how much ripeness is in store for you? So when I think of all the time I've wasted, my heart swells as if to burst at all the love well tasted, shining from the first full breath of beauty. However consummation leans, her invitative dances designed to shine and gleam. So how much courage can you ignore, and how much ripeness is in store for you and all of you and all of you?
And all of you. And all of you. And all of you. Glad to have you here. Like my ballerinas? You like those ballerinas? I got my room full of fog in here right now. Ballerinas are dancing around in my mind like you wouldn't believe. It's just an amazing little picture and corner of the world that I'm bringing you tonight. Well, I'm going to be wrapping this up for you in a second. That's really what I'm thinking. I'm wondering, well, what do I need to do to make this happen? You know, and I'm actually between you and me, I'm actually a little hungry, but I don't want to admit it. I really don't want to admit it, but I am kind of hungry, and I think maybe I'm thinking a pizza sounds good. I'm thinking at this hour a night. I didn't plan my dinner too well, you know. We're going to head off into the time of night where it's going to be too late pretty soon, and I think wait a minute. Oh, I know what I want to do. Hang on a second. Yeah. My pizza guy. Hang on. Hold on there. Hang on. No, wait for me. This is all right. Hang on. Hello?
Hi, Nick's Pizza here?
Yeah.
I just want to know why I should drop off these pizzas.
Pizzas?
I'm not sure. I can't quite find your house.
Was it
a road or was it a street? What exactly was it?
It's a tiny house. Very, very tiny. It's a little hard to find. You all right?
Look, you ordered about 20 pizzas.
20?
And 3 Cokes.
No.
2 Sprites.
No.
I'm just here to drop them off.
I don't even like Sprite.
Whatever party or occasion. No, excuse me. Whatever party occasion you're having.
Well, my occasion.
House address. Or wherever you live, so I can deliver these and get back to work.
Dude, all my friends are online. How are we going to deliver pizzas to all my friends online?
I don't care. You ordered these pizzas, you gotta pay for them.
Oh, man, I can't do that, man. I can't do that.
No, you have to pay for them. You ordered them. That's how it works.
All right. Well, you figure it out. You come knock on my door.
Okay, look, I see your house right now.
Okay.
Pull up, and we're gonna get this all settled. Nope, you have to pay.
All right, I'll pay.
Yes.
I will.
Okay.
Well, evidently, folks, I've got a pizza being delivered tonight in my tiny house, and that's okay. That's all right. I'm kind of hungry, as I said. You know, all this dancing in my mind has given me quite an appetite tonight. I'm going to go back and eat my pizza and rewatch this and answer and comment on a bunch of little things that have happened. Probably, I wish I could have tuned in. I'd like to know more about what you thought about all this. I guess I'll find out when I go back and watch it all. I love you dearly. Just another night in my tiny house. You know, this is what happens. Next week. Well, next week's great. Next week I'm even better than tonight because I've got friends coming to visit me. I've got Levi and Donnie right here next Wednesday night from my tiny house, performing right behind me here in Studio K. I'll be putting up mics, cameras, action all around them. We'll bring you some live music, kids, right here next Wednesday night, Tiny House Live. You know where we're at. You know how to find me, right? Did you set your notification bell? Did you? Your professor wants to know. He wants to know. All right. I do want to know. I really do want to know, because that's really what it all comes down to. As I format myself to say goodnight to you, and I just did that. Look at that. Hello. I want to say goodnight, and that's really what all this is coming down to for me, my friends, is just a way to get out of here. I'm looking for my exit. It's the rabbit hole. It's easier to find for you than me sometimes, but it's right over here. I've got it right behind me. And on that note, my tiny house live, I'm going to tell you, I love you, the Sonoma County and the greater world around me. I think my room is exploding around me, and it's all right. I can deal with it. It's just another night in a tiny house. So glad you were here with me to experience this, and I hope you enjoyed this little twist on what I like to do. You know, it's connecting in a little deeper way. People seem to be going outward these days. I figured I'd go the opposite way and go inwards. That's what I like to do. I'm outside looking in. Outside looking in. That's what I'm telling you. Tiny House Live. Outside looking in. Good night, folks.
And you never hear surf music again. It sounds like a lie to me. Come on, man, let's go home.